Am I the asshole for banning alcohol from Christmas? My husband's family likes to drink. Every holiday includes multiple bottles of wine, cocktails. I hate drinking. I have never drank. My father was an alcoholic. I think it's childish if you can't have fun without drinking. This year I'm hosting Christmas for a change. I decided since it's at my house, no alcohol allowed. We are all getting older and it's time to grow up. My husband's sister called to ask what she could bring. She saw a recipe for a Christmas martini that she wanted to bring. I told her about my no alcohol rule. She didn't say much but must have told the rest of the family. Some of them started texting me asking me if I was serious and saying that it is lame. But I'm not budging. Now it turns out my husband's sister is hosting an alternate gathering that almost everyone is choosing to go to instead. It's so disrespectful, all because they would have to spend one day sober. My husband told me he talked to his sister and we are invited to her gathering, and he said we should just go and stop causing issues, but I won't. It's so rude. Now husband is mad because I'm making him stay home and spend Christmas with me, but it was my turn to host and I chose to have a no alcohol. They could have dealt with it for 1 year. You are the asshole and the Grinch who stole Boozimas. Edit. Thank you all for awards. May you be blessed this Boozimas. You are the asshole for having a fit when no one wants to attend your optional gathering where alcohol is banned because you personally think it's childish. Now all your in-laws know that you think they're immature alcoholics. So why on earth would you expect them to go to your dinner when you think that about them? No less on a holiday where, yes, most people expect there to be festive alcoholic drinks served. I don't even drink at dinners outside my home because I'm always driving home after, but I sure wouldn't attend one like yours. Ya turkey ain't that good. Am I the asshole for leaving my friend at the airport? I, 20 female, and my friend, Emma, F22, recently went on a trip to California. She asked if I wanted to go on the trip with her because we'd stay with one of her other friends, Lena, 24 female, and go sightseeing. I agreed, we booked our tickets, and she commuted to my city where we'd be taking off from and stayed the night. She told me her ticket back was a lot later in the day on the day we get back to the city, and I told her not to worry, she can stay with me and I'll take her to the station. I told her specifically that I wanted to go see the Golden Gate Bridge and the Japanese tea garden. Her friend's parents housed us at their house so we'd have more room and privacy, and she also picked us up from the airport, prepared gifts for us, and excitedly told us that she's so happy to have guests. We saw the bridge twice, the Japanese tea garden, Ghirardelli Square, Japantown, the pier, and tons more, and took tons of pictures. Emma always asked if I wanted my picture taken in front of things, and offered to retake or take more photos if I was unhappy with them. After the trip, someone had taken Emma's carry-on, which had everything she brought. When I grabbed mine, Emma said, "Op, my carry-on isn't here," and I didn't really think much of it. It was a long flight, I was tired, and it was super early in the morning. She said that she wanted to try and find it before the person who took it left with it, and she hurried off. I didn't see her past customs, so I left to meet my boyfriend who was picking us up and left without her. Eventually, I messaged her and told her that she could find her own way back to the station. Emma was confused and said that she was supposed to go back with me and my boyfriend since her train was later, and she was just waiting for flight staff to get her carry-on back, and if I was leaving her there. I asked her what she wanted me to do, run after her? She said that she just wanted a bit of understanding that she had her carry-on taken, because everything she brought was in the bag and it was a stressful situation. I snapped back and said that the trip we went on wasn't even to sightsee. It was just so she could see her friend, and she responded that we went to see everything I specifically wanted to see and more. Further, Emma said that Lena hosted us well and drove us around the entire week we were there, housed us, her parents fed us breakfast in the mornings, and Lena paid for all the gas, parking, and tolls. I can admit that I was a little passive-aggressive, but she went on to say that if my luggage was taken, she would be with me as support. I said well, it's not my fault she lost her luggage. Emma hasn't spoken to me since, and has since removed me off everything. I don't think I was wrong, but am I the asshole? You are the asshole. Wow. So your friend hooked you up with free accommodation with what sounds like wonderful hosts, catered to your every demand the entire trip, and your way of thanking her is to not only have zero empathy for her lost luggage but to leave her at the airport? You are a huge asshole. You owe her an apology, and if I were her, I would accept it but still choose to cut you out of my life. You are the asshole. You're the embodiment of the saying, with friends like you, who needs enemies? You are the asshole. You didn't even bother to contact her to give her a chance to decide whether she wanted to keep looking or get a ride back. It sounds like you mostly got an expenses-paid trip and decided that you couldn't wait to take your friend home when her bag went missing? I'd apologize if I were you. Hard, you are the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my sisters they are getting nothing out of me for our mother's care? I am the oldest of 4 and the only boy. Mom always wanted girls, and so when the oldest of my 3 sisters was born I was tossed aside by my mom. It only got worse when my other 2 sisters were born. Then my dad died and I was left the only male in the family, unwanted by my mother and not cared about by my sisters because they were especially close to mom and loved being her girls. My mom loved telling everyone she was a girl mom. She talked about being a girl mom was her dream come true. I was often left at home while she had her girls' days. There was never a mom and son day. A few times she was able to look me in the eye and tell me she forgot I was there if I spoke. There was never any shame in it. I did everything to try and be a good son and to win her love, but it is what it is, I suppose. I cut her off when I turned 18 and I went to therapy to build up my self-esteem and to try and find healing. My sisters and I did not stay in touch either. They admitted to not having missed me when they reached out to say mom has been diagnosed with ALS. They wanted my help taking care of her and I refused to help. They contacted me 4 times now, and the last time is when I told them they get nothing out of me. I said I would never lift a finger or spend a cent on mom after she discarded me once she got the girl she wanted. They say she's still my mom and they're still my sisters and I owe my family. The oldest of them told me I was being a selfish, spoiled brat who was acting like a toddler because mommy didn't love him, but I am meant to be an adult and not take random shit out on mom. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, you don't owe her anything. She wasn't there for your needs and you are not required to be there for hers. It's always telling when someone only contacts you once they need something and says, but I'm your _______. Cut them all off and build a happy life. Not the asshole. I grew up in similar circumstances, but my mother was more abusive than what you've described. So let me share the lesson that I learned the hard way with you. Blind faith to family is something that only those with loving families can afford. You can't be a spoiled brat if mommy didn't love you, and why should you intercede with what is obviously karma? Would it make you the bigger person? Sure. But it's not a requirement. You lost your obligation when she started treating you as a burden rather than her child. Am I the asshole for leaving my parents' house after they invited my ex to Thanksgiving? I live about 4 hours away from my parents, so I don't see them that often. Quite frankly, I don't mind being away from them for tons of reasons that are a little too personal for me to share. Driving all the way there was already exhausting, so I just wanted to settle in and get ready for dinner. First thing that happens was I recognized a car that I hadn't seen in a while, 2 months. It was my ex's car, parked right there in the driveway next to my mother's car. A little backstory. My ex and I broke up when I found out he cheated on me with 2 of my close friends for a good portion of our relationship, 2 out of the 4 years. I moved taking all of my things and my cat. Just left without a word to anyone. You have to understand I was completely devastated and I thought he was the one. Anyways, I pull up and see his car. Knowing that he was inside, I went anyways to see my parents. When I go inside I call for my mother, trying to limit the amount of times I see my ex. My mother comes immediately and gives me a hug. I ask her if she could step outside to talk. Wrong choice. I ask her why my ex is here and she responds with, I invited him. His parents are out of town and he didn't have a place to go for dinner. Completely blown away that she did that, since she knew the reason behind why we broke it off. Stunned, I ask her to make me a plate and that I was just going to stay a hotel. She flips out and looks at me dumbfounded. Meanwhile, my ex just happens to smoke a cigarette. My mother finally agrees to make a to-go container. He outside now staring at me and not saying anything, which I was grateful for until he started to talk. He keeps saying sorry and that he was lost without me, all the bullshit cheaters say after they have been caught. My mom and dad step out with my food, so I am just ready to go. My dad stops me and tells me I am being childish for leaving and not facing up to my ex since he clearly wants forgiveness. I got so mad and yelled at all of them. I didn't even want to come. I knew some shit like this would happen, that why I am leaving. You didn't need to invite him, but you did even after all of the betrayal he put me though. On the brink of tears, my dad calls me an asshole and I run to my car, dropping my food after stumbling down the front steps. I called some friends and they said that I should have stayed for the sake of my parents, since I was definitely being an asshole. Everyone in this situation is an asshole except for you. I am so sorry that happened. You made the right choice in leaving. Not the asshole. I am so sorry that happened to you. I have to ask, what planet are you on? This is the most outrageous asshole thing I've read on Am I the Asshole today. Given the circumstance of your breakup, what your parents did was just outright cruel. Why are your friends taking the side of your parents? None of this makes any sense. Is there more to this story? I really don't have words. Not the asshole. Nothing described here is even close to you being an asshole. Everyone else is. Not the asshole. Block those friends.